President Cyril Ramaphosa is addressing the nation tonight at 8 o'clock. He will discuss his 76-page response to the State Capture Commission's findings and recommendations. Joining me now is SABC News political editor Mzwandile Mbeje. Hey, good evening. I know you're going to be heading off to the Union Building shortly after our interview, and you'll be standing there, I imagine, with the rest of the country in great anticipation. Before we go to the details of what we're expecting, just think about it. Here's this man who's in office. I wonder how lonely Cyril Ramaphosa is feeling, given that his three comrades in the party, senior comrades, colleague presidents, have taken aim in one way or another at him and his administration.
You know, I think what he will try and do, he will try perhaps tonight to completely avoid anything to do with it, because... Are
we going to put money on this?
You know, I suspect he expects people that he will respond, given what they said. So I think what he will try and do, he will try and stay clear of it, and then try and focus on the job at hand. But of course, you know, it doesn't mean that he's not feeling anything. So these are his comrades, and I think already there are some of the discussion. You've seen some of the people who support him, like Fikile Mbalula, who've been out there to say, you can't do this. If you have an issue, raise it through the direct channels.
Well, I mean, and it's interesting then, if you look at what the KZN ANC is saying in light of these utterances, hey, we're supposed to keep this stuff in the house. You know, as the Arabs will say, this is the Ahlul Bayt. This is the people of the house. Keep it inside. And all of this is happening on the outside. How much damage do you think, Mzwandile, as we head to the national conference, this moment, this convergence of these statements and these utterances are going to be on the national conference? You
know, Iman, this is really putting a huge pressure on the president. I mean, listen to what President Mbeje said, for example. He says there is this task team or this panel which has been given 3 days to check if the president has a case to answer. And then he poses the question, if the conclusion is that the president has a case to answer, what are you saying to the membership? And then you have the other president who's saying, your president has stored the money which is not supposed to. He is corrupt. And then you have President Mzwandile in not so many ways, but expressing unhappiness at the direction of the country. So all those things are putting huge pressure. But as you and I know, in terms of the structures of the ANC at the moment, so he does appear to have some sort of a firm grip.
All right, well, let's get to what we are likely to hear tonight. A lot of people are calling for judicial reform. They want to make sure that there is going to be some levels of implementation. I mean, you would have heard in that interview previously, some people saying they're going to take things on some matters on judicial review, so that might delay things. But what are we expecting in the main tonight?
I think what the president will want to show the nation is that after those recommendations, after that 1 billion rand that was spent, it was not the waste of time. So he will then want to be seen to be following on some of the practical recommendations that the judge recommended. For example, you know that the financial task team, they basically said, so you guys must be seen to be doing something particularly on state capture. And the question is, what is it? Otherwise, we get grey listed. Already our country economically is struggling. So do you want to put any other further pressure to the difficulties that we are already having? So some of the measures I think he will announce will be to say, maybe even announce some of the timelines to say, this is what we are going to do in relation to these issues. But as you and I sit here, there is a lot of legal challenges that will come particularly to that state capture.
And there's a lot of work to be done. If you consider the range and the scope of the State Capture Commission's parameters and then the findings, some investigations still have to go on. Is it likely that there will be almost a sort of a piecemeal response to certain things that he can act on where information is available, or is all of it likely to be now tossed over into the purview of law enforcement or investigators?
I think it will have to be more on the law enforcement agencies. But you know, my interest and I guess the interest of many other people is particularly those who are in his cabinet that may have been implicated. Remember, he doesn't have to wait for the law enforcement agencies there.
But he can't reshuffle now, right?
Well, he can't reshuffle now, but well, he can, but he can't.
Right.
So, in fact, the reason why we say he can't, let's put that in context.
Yeah.
The reason we say he can't, because remember, there's a political process of the governing party that is happening now, and I'm sure you will try and manage the political process with what is happening. Of course, he has the prerogative to reshuffle if he feels whatever he does won't damage any chances, he can still do it. But I personally don't think he would risk that chance. I mean, you reshuffle. What if you lose the support and then you don't get re-elected? Of course, he hasn't said that he will accept, but I think it's common cause that he will.
And there's a lot in flux right now, so this will just add another dimension of flux, which we don't need. Mzwandile, I'm going to let you go with the team to the Union Building, set up there, and we're going to cross to you a little bit later on. Appreciate you joining us so much. SABC News political editor, Mzwandile Mbeje.